COREFrisk was created by the talented artist Doki Doki. COREFrisk was created in the year 2050 on November 4th, and at that time there weren't as many AUs, but still the artist was inspired by the AUs that existed, like Undertale and Undertale. But the artist was also inspired by the Gaster series. You know, the series that MadPat did, which resulted into the fandom thinking that Gaster would be an important character. Well, this artist was inspired by this theory and thought to herself, what if this Gaster theory would happen to my favorite character Frisk? And so the idea of COREFrisk was born. And so she started working on the design of COREFrisk. And let me tell you, when I tell you that we can be happy that the first design draft of COREFrisk didn't become the final version, since this design was creepy, like Lost Silver level of creepiness, since COREFrisk's design showcased them having their eyes taken out by force, leaving them with only a black eye hole, and they also have their legs coughed up and a wound on their stomach. And the only way for them to actually move would be to levitate around. But on November 4, 2015, the first COREFrisk post was posted and the final design was showcased, as well as the main idea of COREFrisk, which was a Frisk who fell down into the core, where they shattered through time and space. And since Frisk's body is not made of magic, but has instead such a powerful soul that was full of determination and could time travel, they were able to survive this fall into the core, which was definitely not plotted by Sans the skeleton. Speaking of skeletons, Frisk was also able to meet Gaster and could impress Gaster with their newfound power. Since Frisk was way powerful than any other monster at that time, they became, with this unfortunate accident, omnipresent, meaning that they are everywhere at once, meaning they are present in every timeline and in every multiverse at the same time. Anyways, the first comic appeared on November 7th, 2015, and it showcased COREFrisk randomly appearing in a normal Undertale timeline, where COREFrisk seek help from a random Sans. But Sans was like,
yeah, as if you're omnipresent. Stop the cap, yo. You watch too much anime, and while we're at it, stop it with the blackface, yo. I don't want to get cancelled on Twitter. Okay?
And so, to prove that they are omnipresent, COREFrisk just robbed Sans' search history. Okay, they didn't do that, but instead answered who Gaster was, and then Sans broke down. But anyways, this would continue in another comic that was released on November 11, 2015, where the same Sans and COREFrisk would talk on the phone and talk about COREFrisk's power. And on November 24, we got a comic where COREFrisk explained to Frisk their powers. And finally, on November 29, we get the first appearance of the Omega timeline, a place that would create in the future a lot of Undertale related stories, since the Omega timeline is a timeline that works like a meeting room for all other timelines. But no one except COREFrisk knows how to get in there. The Omega timeline is also a safe haven for Undertale related AUs that survived a genocide run or other unpleasant runs. So it isn't unusual when, let's say, a Kara enters the Omega timeline that they get jumped by many Sanses. Where also Kara determined that COREFrisk is extremely lonely. But the story of COREFrisk is an interesting one, since at first sight it seems like a normal story of a Frisk who got supernatural powers. But this is only half of the story. You see, once upon a time there was this child called Frisk who had not an unhappy but not a happy childhood. They would play and they would have fun. But the problem was their surroundings weren't really peaceful, because they live in a destroyed city, and in this city war is happening. And this Frisk was already affected by this war, since their father died during the war and their mother died due to a defection. Simple things like that could have been cured in a normal surroundings, but the child never had the opportunity to live in such a normal environment, since every time this child tries to have a normal life, like playing with a ball, things happen. And one day the child decided to just move on, and they decided to leave the orphanage they were stationed in and travel around the world, until one day they came across a big mountain. As you may know, this mountain is called Mount Eben, and this is the mountain where the complete Undertale story happens. And the child wanted to explore this mountain, and to the bad luck, this child fell down the mountain. And instead of facing death, the child had the best adventure in their entire life. They met incredible people and they saw a peaceful environment, something that the child never in their entire life had experienced before. So it isn't a huge surprise that this child wanted to experience this adventure again and again. So when they found out that they could reset the world and experience this adventure again and again, they of course did it. And unlike other Frisks who would try to do the neutral run or the genocide run, they only did the pacifist run, because only one person, except the child, noticed that the world was always resetting and resetting due to the selfish wish of this child. This person was of course Sans, as you may noticed, and this Sans was really pissed at this, that he never could have his happy ending. So at one reset, he just yeeted this Frisk down the core, ensuring that this Frisk would never be able to reset once again. And this is the moment where Frisk was erased in this timeline. No one really remembered Frisk except Sans. And this Frisk would meet in the middle of the core, in the middle of the void, the one and only W. Gaster. And I noticed right away that this Frisk had immensely powerful abilities, like being omnipresent and could travel into different multiverses. And this child, who now knew that he wasn't welcome in this universe due to this selfish wish of having a normal childhood, decided to travel into other universes and decided to help other universes with their problems.
How strong is Core Frisk? Well, in one of the comics from Core Frisk creator, Core Frisk explained their powers. After falling into the core, Core Frisk's determination and ability to load and save evolved. Although they can't reset, load or save their game anymore, they gain the power of multiversal omnipresence, meaning they're everywhere in the multiverse at once. But they can only create one vessel that can interact with the multiverse. With the help of multiversal omnipresence, Core is able to know everything in the multiverse, and their different outcomes. So Core Frisk knows all outcomes at once and can prepare for all of them at once. Core body can be destroyed, sure, but this will not kill Core Frisk. Core Frisk can't open portal, because there can instead just appear wherever and whenever they want. And since there can get any item art weapon from any universe or visit even universe that aren't Undertale related, I guess there could be considered as super strong.
Remember my Core Frisk powers video? If you do, you remember that I told you that Core Frisk has the power of omnipresence. With that power, there have seen everything, every good and bad thing, in the multiverse. And thanks to that, they feel they're powerless, since they are not able to stop every suffering in AUs and bring them to the Omega timeline. But thanks to the power of knowing everything, they are the smartest being in the Undertale universe, so smart in fact that scientists beg them to spoil them on what to do to develop a new machine. Also, the creator had a running gag where askers would try to embarrass Core Frisk with smut content like Underlust or hentai, and Core Frisk would explain it or confront you with your sins.
What are Core Frisk adventures in different AUs? In Outertale, they float around space without a spacesuit. In Underfell, their disses fell sans. In Underlust, they play with lust, Frisk Mario Kart. In another universe, they meet a 3-year-old version and a 90-year-old version of themselves and talk to them. Dose Core Frisk fell homesick? Well, yay. You see, they were thrown into the core by Sans, after they reset it over and over again to replay the pacifist run. They were forgotten by everyone in their original timeline. Now the Mosters are just confused why the barrier is gone. Only Gaster, Kara, and perhaps Sans know that Core existed, but no one else. So to return to the home they knew is impossible. So Core Frisk decide to help other people and bring them to the Omega timeline and create themselves a new home.